Anyway, wild night. It was a night to go picture in picture or have a game on the phone and another on the TV. And if you were throwing the NFL game on TV, you were treated to something different as well. Seattle broke out their retina burner unis. Normally, I don't give a damn about uniforms. Never get caught up in that. I just don't care. And I'll keep that tradition going right now, which is probably a good thing for Seattle. No, I won't. You know the old saying, look like crap, feel like crap, play like crap. Yeah, well, that. You can't ever really prepare for that look, right? In fact, there were a lot of things that I was not prepared for when it came to last night's game, including multiple QBs jacking up their fingers, a double punt, and most of all, Geno Smith. Who's ever prepared for Geno Smith, much less a Geno Smith game? Nobody expected that. One, because Russell Wilson rarely misses action. Hell, he's never missed an NFL game in his career. As for the Rams, in the first half, Matthew Stafford and his crew did not look quite right either. Something definitely seemed off. And that was before he messed up his finger. This is how Stafford described the finger injury. And again, it's a reminder that these dudes are not like the rest of us. These dudes are on another level when it comes to pain threshold. Yeah, I understand that this is kind of what these guys do. It's part of the gig, and they play that tough guy thing, and they kind of laugh it off. But the guy did just refer to his finger as being, quote, on the left a little bit, end quote. And that the solution for fixing that was to, quote, throw it back in. So, like, your finger is not supposed to be, quote, on the left a little bit. That's not a term you use to describe a body part or the status of your digit. It's supposed to be straight. This guy's talking about it like he's trying to hang a painting. And it was just on the left a little bit. Like, move it to the right, a little more, a little bit, stop. That's it. I mean, I love how these guys always pop bleep back into place when bleep pops out. Then again, these dudes are a breed apart. We already know that. As far as the guys doing, quote, a great job for Stafford, he's right. Because they went from putting up 3 points in the first half to breaking out with 23 in the second half, and Stafford threw for 234 yards in the second half. So he had his finger thrown back in and taped up, and then it got warm, and then he started chucking it all over the joint. Pretty amazing how a guy like Jackson, who's been doing it as long as he has, continues to find his way behind defenses. Granted, that is barely a defense that we're talking about with Seattle, which I'll get to. But when Matthew Stafford is airing it out like that, that is a dangerous, dangerous offense. Robert Woods broke out in a huge way. He came into last night's game with 15 receptions for 172 yards. Last night, he almost matched both those things. 12 receptions, $1.50. Now, I don't know if that was by design or that was intentional or if that's what the defense was giving them, because that particular defense gives anybody and everybody whatever the hell they want. But it worked. Speaking of things that worked, how about that punt from Michael Dickson late in the third? First of all, it's a really athletic play, but it just makes me laugh every single time that dude stops on a dime and re-kicks it. Like, I don't know exactly what I saw, and I've seen it like 50 times, and I laugh every time. But what that is really a pretty athletic punter scooping up a block punt, starting to run with it, and then punting it again. I mean, that literally is one of the more jaw-dropping and confusing sequences you'll ever see. And even though I've seen it 50 times, I'm still not really clear on what happened. I mean, are you allowed to punt it twice? Was he behind the line of scrimmage? Turns out you can. You are allowed to punt it twice. So you learn something new every single day, right? And you know what else I learned? I'll tell you something else I learned. That Geno Smith is still in the league. Geno Smith is still alive. Russell Wilson jacked up his finger on Aaron Donald. It looked gnarly. I'm no team doctor, but I don't think you want your finger looking the way Russ's looked last night. Pete Carroll said after the game it was, quote, a badly sprained finger, end of quote. Again, honestly, far be it for me to be a doctor for my living room. That looked a lot worse than a badly sprained finger. He tried to play through it. I guess you couldn't just throw it back in there, tape it, and it would warm up. Nope, not with Russ. But what that meant was it was Geno Smith time. And for a time, Geno Smith was awesome. He was. I mean, how wild was it to see the flat earth truther back in an actual NFL game? Remember, this is a guy who got his face caved in by a teammate with the Jets. A guy who missed a team meeting in California because he was confused by time zones. A guy who called Rex Ryan, quote, a snake. And yet, he's still here. And not only still here, but getting it done. Again, we're talking about somebody who has thrown 9 NFL passes since 2017, and then immediately everybody takes to Twitter with, quote, let Geno cook, which honestly is pretty awesome. Normally, if, quote, everybody is doing something on Twitter, everybody sucks. But let Geno cook was actually okay. And by the way, can you blame him? This guy did look great. I mean, there were actual Geno chants. They were chanting Geno Smith's name. I mean, how great is ball? Geno chants. Geno chants. What an insane time to be alive. And then he chased that monster drive with a drive for a field goal. Geno Smith was keeping the Seahawks in this game. And then with over 2 minutes left, he had a chance to win that game. And the way last night was going, Rams fan was freaking out because it felt like it was going to be Geno's night. Right before the ball was snapped, because how hilarious it would be if he threw an interception right now. And that thing had barely dinged my phone before he got picked. So before James Kelly could celebrate that fact, I want to be very clear with him then and very clear with the rest of you right now. That's not on Geno. Do not come up in here and say that Geno went Geno at the worst possible time. The intended target, Tyler Lockett, hit the ground. And yes, there was contact from a defender. So you can even make the case that Lockett was knocked to the ground. But what you cannot do is knock Geno Smith for what happened. Geno Smith did not cost them that game. He kept them in the game, big head. He gave them a chance to win, which is a lot more than I can say, and you knew I would circle back to this, a lot more than I could say about Seattle's defense. Now, here's what I can say about Seattle's defense. How do I put this? What's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? What can I say about the Seattle defense? It sucks. Now, not to be a hypocrite, I'm the one who always says saying something sucks is not a take. The Seahawks defense sucks, and they know it. Ball don't lie, and neither does number. And that number is 450. The amount of total yards they allowed again. 450 yards plus. That's 4 games in a row they've done that. That's incredible. That franchise has never done that before. In fact, only one other team in the history of the sport has ever done that before. So if they do it again, that record belongs to them and them only. So yes, the Seattle defense sucks. I'd ask you 12s how you're living right now, but I already know. Like bums. You're sitting DFL in the toughest division in football, and no word on how bad Russ's digit is or how long he'll be out. Not only will I allow the take that something sucks because their defense does, I will also allow this on this Friday. Legion of Boom? More like Legion of Bums.